Yes, my friends, the wait is almost over, and the atmosphere around the Miami Dolphins is starting to heat up. Veterans report on Tuesday, training camp begins on Wednesday, and now we are finally going to see what this team really looks like. There are so many important questions surrounding the Dolphins, from Malik Willis and the wide receiver room to the offensive line, the secondary, and Jeff Hafley's new approach. And honestly, that is what makes this training camp so exciting. Nobody knows exactly what is going to happen. I want to see the Dolphins surprise people this season. I want to see this team compete, prove the doubters wrong, and give the fans something special to believe in. But before we can talk about the regular season, we need to see who arrives healthy, who is ready to compete, and which players will take control of the biggest position battles. So, I want to know where you stand. Are you excited about all the unknowns surrounding this team, or do you believe this season could become another disappointment? Which player are you watching most closely during training camp? Write your opinion in the comments. And if you have supported the Miami Dolphins for more than 15 years, hit that like button with everything you have. Now, let's talk about what Dolphins fans need to know before training camp officially begins. The countdown is officially on, and this year's training camp feels very different from previous seasons. There are more questions than answers, and that uncertainty is creating a level of excitement that many Dolphins fans haven't felt in quite some time. Every practice, every rep, and every roster decision could shape what this team becomes over the next several months. One of the first roster updates heading into camp involves wide receiver Chris Bell. The Dolphins have placed him on the active non-football injury list. That designation is important because it means the injury did not happen during NFL football activities. Players on this list are dealing with injuries or illnesses that occurred outside team-related football events. While Bell remains active with the team, his workload can be managed carefully until he's fully ready. As training camp opens, fans will begin hearing several different injury designations, and understanding them helps explain why certain players are or are not practicing. The physically unable to perform list, commonly called the PUP list, is reserved for players recovering from football-related injuries sustained during previous team activities. Those players can attend meetings and continue rehabilitation but cannot practice until they receive medical clearance. If a player remains on the PUP list after the final roster cuts, he moves to the reserve PUP list and must miss at least the first 4 games of the regular season. Injured reserve works differently. Players placed on injured reserve after final roster reductions are required to miss a minimum of 4 games before becoming eligible to return. However, if a player is placed on injured reserve before the roster is cut to 53 players, his season is typically over. That makes the weeks leading up to roster cuts especially important for players recovering from injuries. Several Dolphins could begin camp with injury concerns depending on their recovery progress. Austin Jackson is one player many fans will be watching closely. The hope is that he arrives healthy and ready to participate immediately, avoiding any extended stay on the PUP list. The NFL's collective bargaining agreement also creates a structured schedule that every team must follow during training camp. The first day is focused almost entirely on physical examinations, conditioning tests, meetings, and classroom instruction. Coaches evaluate each player's conditioning and determine whether anyone needs additional time before returning to full participation. During the first 3 days on the practice field, players are not allowed to participate in live contact drills. Helmets and lighter protective equipment are gradually introduced, but practices remain focused on learning assignments, building conditioning, and installing offensive and defensive systems without heavy collisions. Days 4 and 5 allow players to practice at full speed while still avoiding live contact. This period often includes 7-on-7 drills, team periods, and extensive situational work, but tackling remains prohibited. Only after the mandatory acclimation period and the required rest day can full padded practices and live contact officially begin. That means the most physical sessions of training camp won't happen immediately. Instead, coaches gradually increase intensity to reduce injury risks while preparing players for the demands of the regular season. The CBA also eliminated traditional 2-a-day padded practices. Teams are limited to 1 padded practice each day, and practice schedules are tightly regulated. Mandatory attendance is required for all signed players, and unexcused absences can result in significant financial penalties. Rather than holding out entirely, some players around the league now choose what has become known as a sit-in, where they report to camp but do not fully participate while contract negotiations continue. Another topic creating discussion involves the Dolphins' contract structure. Recent salary figures highlight several players carrying some of the highest average salaries on the roster over future seasons. Malik Willis tops that list with an average salary of approximately $22.5 million through 2028, although the contract reportedly contains an option allowing the Dolphins financial flexibility after that point. Zach Sealer also remains among the team's highest-paid players, with contract structures that could provide salary cap flexibility in future seasons. Aaron Brewer's extension similarly gives Miami options later in the deal, while Devon Achane's contract includes future years with potential savings depending on how the roster develops. Jordan Brooks' contract details are still expected to become clearer, but early expectations suggest it may contain similar flexibility. As always, contract numbers tell only part of the story. Strong performances can make every dollar worthwhile, while injuries or declining production can quickly change how those deals are viewed. Training camp will begin providing the first clues about which players are positioned for major roles moving forward. Perhaps the biggest storyline entering camp is simply how much remains unknown. There are new faces, new responsibilities, and countless competitions that have yet to play out. Fans are eager to see how Malik Willis performs in this offense. The wide receiver group remains one of the biggest questions on the roster. The secondary, including the safeties, will receive plenty of attention, especially once joint practices begin against another NFL team. That uncertainty creates genuine excitement because very few positions feel completely settled. Every practice offers someone the chance to move up the depth chart or earn a larger role. Young players can surprise coaches. Veterans can remind everyone why they remain valuable. Competition tends to bring out the best in NFL rosters, and this Dolphins team appears to have plenty of it. Another interesting aspect of this year's camp will be seeing how Jeff Hafley manages practices. Since this is a new environment, nobody knows exactly how he will organize daily routines, structure competitive periods, or balance physical work with player health. Reports suggest a strong emphasis on stretching and preparation, something many fans hope will help reduce injuries throughout the season. That fresh approach gives training camp an entirely different feeling compared to previous years. Instead of assuming everything will unfold the same way, fans are entering camp with genuine curiosity. Every coaching decision, every adjustment, and every player evaluation becomes part of learning what this new era might look like. There is also hope that the organization shares more behind-the-scenes content throughout camp. Even short videos showing practice preparation, player interactions, and coaching moments will allow fans to feel more connected as the preseason approaches. Those kinds of features can help bridge the gap between off-season speculation and meaningful football games. For fans planning to attend practices in person, training camp offers a unique opportunity to watch the team up close before the regular season begins. It's the first chance to see rookies, newcomers, and returning veterans working together on the field. However, fans should remember to follow all